is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Here now, Tony Bruschi.
All right, welcome back to our series on classroom cover-up about passing the trash and protecting kids from hidden predators in schools. If you caught episode 1, you know we're exposing how schools let accused educators slip away without consequences, only to put more children at risk. If you haven't checked out that video yet, go back. It is in our repertoire of content, whether it's on the podcast platform or on YouTube. Gets you a little more familiar with the term passing the trash and what it's all about. Today, in episode 2, we're zeroing in on a case that's still unfolding literally as we speak. It's raw, it's recent, and it hits hard. We're talking about Andrew McGann, a 28-year-old former elementary school teacher whose rapid job hopping across 3 states raised eyebrows long before he was arrested for the brutal murders of a couple on an Arkansas hiking trail named Devil's Den. This isn't just a true crime story. It's a glaring example of how unaddressed red flags in schools can spiral into tragedy. We're going to walk through his timeline in detail, the specific complaints that were ignored by multiple districts, the parents' heartbreaking accounts of feeling dismissed, and why this screams for systematic change. We'll also explore the broader context of how these failures happen nationwide, with states and comparisons to similar cases. It's going to be heavy, but it's crucial for understanding the stakes and pushing for reforms that could prevent the next disaster. But this only works with your help. You got to share this video. You got to let people know you're mad about this, okay? I'm putting together 10 of these videos because I'm mad about this. The next step, it's in your hands. It's up to you. Public outrage is what will drive this. Now, why haven't we had enough public outrage up until now? I have no idea. But you got to get louder, you got to get more vocal, and you got to get more direct, and you got to expose more of this stuff when it's happening. And do not sit silent any longer. So, it starts by sharing this video on your own social media. It starts by letting people know that this exists, like the video. Do whatever you can to let people know, look at this, we have a problem. I am not doing this for clicks. I am doing this because this is utterly insane. And people need to be aware of what's going on. So let's set the scene with what happened on that fateful day, diving deeper into the details that have emerged since the arrest. It was July 26 of 2025, a Saturday, when Clinton David Brink, who was 43, and his wife Kristen Amanda Brink, 41, took their 2 young daughters, aged 7 and 9, on a hiking trip in Devil's Den State Park, about 30 minutes outside of Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's a popular spot. It's rugged trails winding through dense forests, scenic overlooks, breathtaking views of the Ozark Mountains. I've been there many times. It's a wonderful place. Families are out enjoying nature on a warm summer day. But that afternoon, around 1:30, something went horribly wrong. In a remote section where cell service is non-existent, adding to the isolation and terror, the couple was found stabbed to death, with investigators believing Clinton was attacked first, suffering multiple fatal wounds to his torso and neck. Kristen, in the act of unimaginable bravery and maternal instinct, told her kids to run as far and fast as they could, managed to get them away, ushering them away from this madman, and then returned back to the scene after the kids had taken off, only to be killed herself with similar vicious stabbings. On this show, if you want to know more about this case, if you're just finding us because of this topic, we have many interviews about what happened. We talked with the 911 dispatcher. We talked with a couple who saw the killer literally moments before this all went down. They interacted. We talked with the person who was actually cutting the Andrew McGann's hair as he was being arrested. The story of what happened with those kids is beyond heartbreaking. They reported to to the dispatcher that they ran, indeed, as fast and far as they could from their mother's urging, and they ran until they could not hear their mother's cries anymore. That was how it was communicated. The children miraculously were unharmed physically, but scarred emotionally now for the rest of their life. Witnesses to this described the horror. They witnessed the horror themselves, but were able to alert help once they reached a safer area. Authorities described it as a random, vicious assault with no apparent motive, but the brutality, multiple stab wounds suggesting rage or frenzy, shocked everyone. The Brinks were just a normal family from a nearby town, out for the day, on a hike, to bond and create memories with their kids. Now their daughters, they're orphans, staying with relatives while the community rallies around them with counseling and support. Entered Andrew James McGann, arrested just 4 days later on July 30th while getting a haircut at a barber shop in Springdale, Arkansas. Police tracked him down using eyewitness tips, security footage of the black four-door sedan. They called a Mazda, but it's a Kia. It was how it was identified on this show first. Leaving the park with a covered license plate and DNA evidence from the scene that matched him. McGann was originally from Chicago, where he grew up in Garfield Ridge and attended Fenwick High School. He confessed to the killings allegedly during questioning. He's yet to plead as of this recording. According to authorities, through details of the confession, they have not fully been released due to the ongoing investigation. He's been charged with 2 counts of capital murder, which could mean the death penalty if prosecutors pursue it, as indicated by Washington County Prosecutor Brandon Carter. At his first court appearance, he was held without bond, appearing via video in an anti-suicide smock, glowering as the judge read his charges. As of right now, the motive has remained a mystery. Investigators won't speculate, saying the case is active, but theories swirl about possible mental health issues, random violence. Or was he targeting the kids? And thank God they got away. You see, on the surface, McGann has no prior criminal record. But his background as a teacher has everyone asking, how did someone with a trail of complaints keep getting jobs working with kids? I've been asking that now pretty much since he was arrested. On News Nation, with Banfield, on ABC News, here. How? Why? And that's what's led me to this. Could this escalation have been foreseen if schools had acted differently? Sure, he could have gone and done this horrible tragedy in another state, yes. But would he have? If he kept getting bounced around from school to school for the same problems every place, somebody had stopped him. If it was just no more education for you, my friend, you ain't going to do this job no more. I mean, you could almost certainly say that this tragedy would never have happened had he been stopped, but would another have? Possibly. But why didn't we roll the dice and try to stop him early on? Well, McGann's story starts innocently enough, but let's unpack his educational path and the mounting concerns. Okay, he graduated from Oklahoma State University, Tulsa, in 2022 with a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education, eager to teach young children. His first job was at Donald Elementary in Lewisville Independent School District in Flower Mound, Texas, where he taught 4th grade from fall of 2022 to spring of 23. That's when the red flags started popping up. First year on the job. And they were serious. Parents allegedly complained about his classroom management, but more alarmingly, about lapses in professional judgment, specifically favoritism towards female students, elementary students. Reports described him making odd comments Allegations include telling a young girl, if you were older, I would love to marry you. Or keeping some girls inside during recess while letting others out. Sometimes inviting them to eat lunch alone in his classroom. One incident involved a little boy who cried and reported feeling uncomfortable with how McGann interacted with the girls, including allegations of tickling them or giving them extra treats. Some parents, and one allegation from a woman whose son was in his class, described his behavior as eerie and said her son came home upset, feeling something was off. Elementary students are saying this. This is not like, I think something's off with that guy. These are kids that are telling you something's off with this dude. Another parent noted grooming-like patterns, allegations of isolating girls, building special relationships, and making inappropriate remarks. Multiple families allegedly reported these issues to the principal, but felt dismissed. The district investigated, placed him on administrative leave, but ultimately found no outright evidence of abuse. Surprise, surprise. Instead of now reporting to authorities, mandatory reporting to authorities, they found that to be optional. Or flagging his record under mandatory reporting laws, they let him resign in May of 2023 with a neutral reference. No police involvement, no mask on his teaching credential, just a quiet exit that allowed him to continue teaching. From there, McGann bounced to Spring Creek Elementary in Broken Arrow Public Schools in Oklahoma for the 23 to 24 school year. He taught 5th grade, passing the background check clean because nothing was documented from Texas, and left voluntarily at the end of that year, citing an out-of-state opportunity. No issues were documented there, but given his pattern, questions linger about whether subtle behaviors went unnoticed, and there have been allegations that have surfaced online that have been unconfirmed at this point. Then in August of 24, he landed a spot in Plano ISD back in Texas, but quit after just 4 days. From August 6th to the 9th, before even interacting with students, the district confirmed he passed background checks and had no contact with kids, but won't say why he resigned. Whispers from parents and media suggest old complaints from Lewisville resurfaced, prompting him to leave preemptively. Undeterred, McGann taught 5th grade at Northwoods Fine Arts Elementary in Sand Springs, Oklahoma, from summer of 24 through May of 25. Again, without reported problems. A former student and her mother later described him as cool at first, but increasingly off towards the end of the year. And again, more chatter has come up online, very similar to the first chatter of the first school. Were those incidents reported to the district? I have no idea. Finally, in early 25, he moved to Arkansas, where he was hired by the Springdale Public School District to start teaching right now. First day of class would have been August 11th. First day on the job would have been today, August 4th of 2025, as the teachers are going back. Just days after his arrest. He hadn't met any students yet, but the fact he got the job at all, that's passing the trash in action. With his certification still valid in Texas until 2028, Oklahoma until 27, and Arkansas, well, they're under review now. I'm not blaming Arkansas. They didn't have anything to go on other than what they had to go on. They couldn't legally demand those records from Texas, nor were they even know to. And Texas doesn't have to give them out. And legally, they may not be able to either. This rapid shuffling, 5 districts in 3 states over 3 years, is textbook for how the system fails. Each move relied on incomplete background checks that missed the soft complaints because nothing was officially reported. Louisville's investigation stopped short of mandatory reporting under Texas law, which requires educators to flag suspected abuse if there's reasonable suspicion. But since they deemed it not abuse, despite parents' detailed accounts, McGann walked free to apply elsewhere. Oklahoma and Arkansas checks came up empty for the same reason. Parents in Louisville, like Marcum and Polyak, have spoken out since the arrest, expressing shock and anger that their concerns were swept under the rug. Marcum said, "We were literally dropping our kids off to a monster," and emphasized that listening to children is key. Another parent, she confirmed reports were made but ignored, allowing him to continue. A high school friend from Fenwick described McGann as a socially awkward kid with a dark side that made people uneasy even back then. These accounts paint a picture of escalating instability that schools enabled through inaction. Advocates point out this mirrors national trends. A 2024 report from the Enough Abuse campaign estimates that underreported educator misconduct puts up to 4.5 million students at risk annually. In Texas, where McGann started a KXAN investigation, revealed thousands of quiet separations like this, fueling the push for Senate Bill 571 in June of 25, which created a do not hire registry and strengthens reporting now in Texas. Too late for the Brinks, but it underscores the urgency. Compare this case to the likes of Gary Greger, who abused across multiple states with similar quiet resignations, or John White in Illinois, where glowing references led to more victims. The pattern is clear. Without shared databases or mandatory disclosures, predators rack up opportunities. Classmates, former colleagues, and communities have come forward with unsettling memories. In Texas, parents who complained felt dismissed. One told NBC News they worried about his favoritism towards girls, but were assured it was handled internally. In Oklahoma, a Sand Springs student's former mother noted seemed not himself by year's end and now questioned if red flags were missed. This pattern of ignored warnings is what allows escalation. While McGann had no prior abuse convictions, the complaints fit grooming behavior experts fits the behavior that experts warn about. They build trust, they isolate kids, they test the boundaries with comments and physical conduct, and then go from there. The murders, though unrelated to his teaching, highlight how unchecked instability can explode. Investigators believe McGann may have injured himself during the attacks, and they're piecing together his movements, including why he chose that trailer, if there was any prior connection. None found so far to that couple. The random nature terrifies communities. Could this have been prevented if schools had connected the dots and reported suspicions of this monster earlier? Yes. The fallout is heartbreaking and multifaceted. The Brink family is shattered. Clinton and Kristen were devoted parents. Their third daughter, not on the hike now, joins her sisters in grief. A GoFundMe for the girls has raised over $100,000 in days, with tributes pouring in about the couple's kindness, community involvement, and love for outdoor adventures. Funeral services were held amid widespread mourning, with the park's trails closed for days during the investigation. McGann's family and former schools are under intense scrutiny. Lewisville ISD issued a statement saying they followed protocol and sent letters to affected families, but parents aren't buying it. Of course they're not, because it's BS. They demand accountability, and you didn't give them any. You passed the trash. Plano ISD confirmed his brief employment, but emphasized no student contact. Broken Arrow and Sand Springs reiterated clean background checks and no disciplinary actions. Not complaints, actions. Just saying, were there no complaints? I don't know. I'm not accusing and saying they were, but I'm just asking, were there? Springdale rescinded his offer post-arrest. Sorry, you can't be a teacher here. You're going to be locked up for a little while. Relieved he never started. There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions and not a lot of answers. And there's a lot of people trying to figure out how many more of these are out there. And let me tell you, there are many. There are many. And we're about to dig into more of them in our next chapter. In episode 3, we're going to tackle Kip McFarland and Texas's coaching scandals where similar cover-ups led to convictions. Like I said, this only works if people know you're outraged. Administrators know you're outraged, and you're not going to shut up about it. They don't like that part. That whole talking thing, the whole, we're going to say really bad things. Not because we want to, but because we have to. Nothing slanderous, nothing false, nothing defamatory. Just, hey, here's how you handled this. Here's a big bright light on it. If you'd like this to not happen in the future, let's do better. Share this story. Hit like. Give us a comment. Let people know we're talking about this, and you start talking about this. Because only if that happens will reform take place. I have a lot more content for you to share with others, to absorb yourself, so we can get this ball more than rolling. We can get it plowing down the hill like Indiana Jones and knocking out anybody in its wake that wants to keep standing for the old guard and allowing this stuff to happen. They just kind of need to be... I just tossed my pen. That's how angry I am. Just flattened. Flattened by that ball. So let's get it rolling, because we cannot have this anymore. You do your part, I'll keep giving you more info on this so we can make a difference. I'm Tony Bruschi. Press subscribe wherever you're downloading podcasts. And like I said, share the heck out of this. And let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'll talk again real soon.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers podcast.